good evening and welcome to Live in the Hive. It's Thursday night. I am in the Hive and I am behind the bar this evening. I feel like I should be calling time, but I'm not, because we have got so much to cram in on this show and we have got some great guests this evening. If you're lucky though, I might actually let you have some of my crisps and maybe send it to your house. You never know. Competition might be coming up very soon. They're really good though. Bacon fries, do you remember those? Scampi fries. And to the left of me, which you can't see, I've got some honey roasted peanuts. So I could stay in here all night chatting to you guys. But I'm going to have to say, we have got some great people that you need to hear from. And the person who's going to introduce them is somebody we have missed for the past few weeks. And I know everybody's been saying, when's he coming back? No, it's not Brad Pitt. Wish it was Brad Pitt, but can't get him in the Hive this week. But we can get our very own mini presenter, Harry Eagleton, who's on the show tonight.
On tonight's show, there is Jodie Salt and Freddie Main.
Hey, Jodie Salt and Freddie Main are our guests this evening. We've got Freddie coming up later on, but first of all, I've got to introduce this wonderful lady. Honestly, you know, I've been reading a book for the past week and I can't put it down. It's called Woman Up, if you can see it there. I just have big kudos for people who write books. I would love to write them myself, but I'm not that dedicated. She's been an assertive coach for, gosh, I think about 15 years. We'll have to check that with her. In fact, let's bring her in right now. Welcome to Live in the Hive, Jodie Salt.
Good evening. Hello, Michelle.
Hey.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, do you know what? I'm really thrilled to have you because, as I say, I've had your book, reading it all week. It's been by my bedside and it'll pretty much stay there for, gosh, the next few years, because it's pretty much a Bible for empowering women. And I would say there's a bit in it for men as well.
Of course, but boom, results. That's exactly what I wanted it to do. So big thumbs up from me.
So how did this come about? Because I just said, you know, you've been an assertiveness coach for, is it about 15 years? You've been helping businesses, doing personal things with men, women, organizations.
Yeah, so started out in kind of leadership development in a corporate world as an executive coach for many of those years. More recently, the last kind of 3, 4, 5, really niching down to be spending time coaching women, specifically in assertiveness. I think Michelle's fallen out of the show, but she did ask me a question, so I'm going to carry on.
I'm still here. I was putting the focus on you.
I thought you'd left me, but I thought, that's all right, I can fill in while she's not here. Thank you.
Do you know what? I ain't going nowhere. But no, tell us about it then. So you did that for so many years, and then what kind of made you make the change, and I suppose put pen to paper?
Okay, so from being a little girl, I always wanted to write a book, but I never believed that people like me wrote books. That's the number one thing, the most important thing. What made me kind of change over? Well, you know what? Sometimes the corporate rat race isn't for everybody. I knew I wanted to kind of freestyle it in the world and move away from corporate life. Why is it assertiveness? Well, because kind of had my own brush with it in a personal experience. When I was working in, you know, quite a mid to senior level role, and, you know, I was at the raw end of quite aggressive, you could call it almost bullying behaviour to an extent, that I was finding really, really tough. And so I decided, right, that is it. It was either throw the towel in and leave like every other person in the job role before me had done, or I take myself off to London, I pay £2,000 and I go on an assertiveness course. Obviously, I chose the latter. And I came back feeling liberated, absolutely liberated, with really practical techniques that just worked like that. So I was sold. I was, you know, just obsessed by that point. I thought, this is it. This is it. I had a passion then for coaching women because it was bigger than the boardroom. And they really struggled with assertiveness too. So it was just a marriage made in heaven.
And I do think it's hard sometimes to reach out. I think, a lot of people may kind of have the idea that assertiveness coaches, life coaches, people like that, one, you've got to have a shed load of money to put to them, or
Yeah.
two, it's like, well, oh, I can't, it's just little me. I'm not an MD. It's like, oh, it'd be silly for me to have it. But actually, I think it's the tools, isn't it? Just to kind of get that extra bit of confidence or reach that mountain that you can't really seem to climb.
Yeah, I think the thing that's really overlooked by lots of people in the main, and it is the people in the main that make the difference in this world, in the business, in society, so it's about skills. And I don't think everybody can see that, is that if you manage to really, harness a key few skills, well, you can set the world on fire. And one of the big messages with the book is, please know, women, that assertiveness is just a skill. That means anybody can learn it. Most women who come to me will say, oh, but I'm just not like that. It's not in my nature. It's not part of my personality. And I say, you don't have to believe that any longer. It is a skill, so that means you can learn it.
And I also think what your book does is it kind of changes it and turns it around, because with assertiveness, some people think, oh, she's going to be aggressive. I can't be aggressive. I'm not going to I've got red lipstick on tonight, Jodes. But, you get that image of red lipstick, harsh hair, and just going to be, a bit of a ball breaker. Yeah.
High stilettos.
Yeah, but how it happens in your book is you've got these, and I think they're really good chapters because they're quite short and bite-sized, but it takes you through different things. So you've got emotion, you've got identity, you've got communication. So I suppose you don't really have to read it chronologically, do you?
No, you can dip in and out of it as much as you like. I mean, if you feel like your life's on the floor, then absolutely, it is structured in a way that if you work through it progressively, it'd build up nicely for you. But yes, for most women, you know what? They just need to dip their toe in a few little areas, brush up on a few different things, and life's peachy again. So yeah, you're absolutely on the money there, that you can just dip in and out of it wherever you like.
So why Woman Up? What's behind that? Because you hear Woman Up and I reckon people would think of Man Up.
Yeah, I get a bit of stick for it at first sometimes. Do you know what? It's the natural assumption that people make. But I think, one thing the book points out is making assumptions is a little bit dangerous. No guessing. We don't do guessing. We do finding out the real answer to things. So I love it actually when people take the time to say, well, hang on a minute, what is this Woman Up all about? And you're right, I'm most certainly not about to do the female version of how most people perceive Man Up to be. That's been detrimental to so many men's mental health, probably a bunch of women's mental health as well over the years. So I am most certainly not about to replicate that on, a whole bunch of women that might read this book. So Woman Up is about giving women the tools, the resources, the empowerment to rise, to elevate themselves. I'm, as I'm sure you can tell, I am passionate about equality, a bit of a modern day feminist. The gender agenda, you need your teeth in for that, don't you? The gender agenda is a big one for me. And so this is about, marches, petitions, demonstrations, I'm all for, but they only go so far. For me, society and culture only changes when individual people decide to do something different. So Woman Up is about the women who are able, so women like me, like you, everyday women living everyday lives. The power's in our hands to make small changes that make a big difference to our own lives, but actually they change the course of society for the women who can't.
I think it's brilliant. And I also think that what there's a lot of is a rawness in your book. We get to know you and you open up, massively about your own experiences, because I think as a woman that makes you feel, oh God, this woman's been through maybe what I've been through, and she's not got, you know, the perfect life. You swear, Jodes, you swear.
A lot, I know. I've already had some family members be like, your book's great, and it's, you know, I like your frank, open approach. You say the F word a bit too much for me, though, Jodie. So I've
Oh,
been wrapped by a few family members, but hey ho, you know.
No, we kind of laugh along with you, and you're a mum of 3, you know, hats off to you. You've got a gorgeous family. There they are.
They are, look at them. The little
What
one was
do
a bit
you girls
younger.
what do you girls think of mum doing a book like this, which is, you know, essentially, you know, trying to empower, liberate, educate, entertain women?
Sure, it's different for all 3 of them, I think. The youngest, you know, she's interested. She has quite a few questions. You know, when she found out that, you know, I'd got an Amazon #1 bestseller, she was kind of like, Mom, what? And I think that's when the penny dropped for her. So she finds it all a bit shocking and surprising. My middle daughter, you know, really connects with it quite well. We talk a lot about it, and she's really into it. Whereas the older one, you know what, she'll get on with her own life and wouldn't bat an eyelid at what's going on some days. But she's 18 and just out the door living her own life now. So
Too cool for school. That's what they are. You want to get a bit older.
She's at a Sam Fender gig tonight. So
who's that?
Who's that?
I know.
Don't ask me.
I know. Take that and Bros. You know, a little bit more my era. Do you know?
Yeah.
I'm actually going to take you back to being young. You know, like your children there, and this is the photo that pretty much changed your own life, isn't it? Tell us a bit about this photo.
Yeah, so this is my favourite photo of me of all time. So when we talk about identity in the book, this is the picture that I feel represents the real me, right? That's who I am. That picture embodies that. I think you look at that photo and you're like, she's careless, she's joyful, she's, you know, got no cares in the world, she's invincible, nothing can stop her, the world's at her feet, you know, she's got you know, an imagination full of dreams. And, you know, as I've grown older, society kind of bashed a little bit of that out of me. And so that's the version of me that I aim to reconnect with when I need it most. You know, like you said, I'm a normal northern woman. I have a fair amount of rubbish go on in my own life from time to time. So there are times when that's the photograph that I look into the eyes of and kind of been like, right, what would you do right now? And
we do lose ourselves, I think, when we grow older, because, you know, you've got responsibilities. You know, most of us have got children, we become wives, and the identity and then who you used to be, it just drifts away from you. And it's quite nice to have that moment to reconnect. And I think that's a good idea for a lot of us to do. Perhaps, you know, recall the old photograph and just kind of go, what did she want to do? You know, am I doing that? And actually, there's still time.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had loads of people already send me their versions and said, right, I'll put this on the fridge door. So whenever I'm having a wobble or I don't know what to do or I lose myself, I'm just going to go to the fridge, and instead of eating some cheese out of it, I'm just going to ask that picture what she thinks I should do. And you're right, you know, we play so many roles in life and we spin so many plates. I talk about in the book about wearing badges. You know, what's the job, what's the name, the job title on the badge? Is it mum? Is it wife? Is it partner? Is it cleaner? You know, is it carer? Yeah. How often has my badge got the name Jodie on it or Michelle on it, where I'm, you know, living as me, as the person I was intended to be? And you wake up one day and women will say to me, I look in the mirror and I just don't recognise the person staring back at me. And that's one of the key kind of signs that says this book's for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally agree in so many ways. And I've took, as I say, a lot from your book already. One of the things that I really want to kill you for, though, is I cannot get Miley Cyrus's The Climb out of my head. Explain this song and the relevance to the book, Jodes.
Okay, right. So yes, it features in the book very randomly. It's a song that I just cannot listen to without being in floods of tears. It's one of them that makes me go, you really can't catch your breath. And so yeah, it's the lyrics. It's the lyrics. Even the first kind of verse is kind of saying, I can almost see it, that dream I'm dreaming, but the voice inside my head saying, you'll never reach it. And the song goes on to kind of say, you know what? Actually, you start to learn that I'm always going to want these things. And I've always been one of them women that I achieve stuff. I'm like, tick, give me the next big thing. Achieve it. Tick, give me the next big thing. And I've never felt settled and content with or congratulated myself. That's why we're having a party on Sunday, by the way, so that I'm taking time to congratulate myself, because what the song says is, it's all about the climb. It's not about what's waiting on the other side anymore. And it's that moment that says to me, that's it. It isn't just about what's on the other side of this mountain. Actually, enjoy this climb and be in it and take part in what's actually happening. And yeah, so that's why
that is on my playlist now, and it has a totally different meaning since reading that book. I love it. I've got one for you though, because a song resonates with me when I feel like I need that extra fizz. I need to kind of get myself all going again and get my confidence. And it's Defying Gravity from Wicked.
That's also one. So the Womanifest playlist, right? So Michelle was at a big event we held in Manchester before pandemic called Womanifest. That was on the Womanifest playlist, which was our Empower Hour playlist, and absolutely Defying Gravity's up there for me.
And it's kind of saying, no one can tell me that, we can't fly. I'm sick of people saying there's limits, and there isn't limits, just because watch me go. That so yeah.
And I guess given, you get to go to the theatre so often, surely you've heard a good belter of that, haven't you?
Oh, I have. And I get chills because for me, like I say, it has a totally different meaning, because I'm like, no one can stop me. I'm going to do it, and that, yeah. So on our playlist, that those two songs, we'll build them up as we go. If anybody's watching this and wants to share a song, please do. We've actually got some comments coming in. Got a really nice one. I think you resonated with Heather Glover. She says, Heather Barron. I'm imagining that's little Heather needs to keep making a reappearance. So it definitely strikes a chord there. Now I'm going to move on a little bit, because you do a hell of a lot of things. It's not just do the book, you do Ladies Life Lounge, and you were talking about Womanifest, which I went to just before the pandemic started. It's a massive festival of just some amazing, incredible women getting together and just showing what they do. And there was a catwalk. It felt great. It really, really did. But Ladies Life Lounge, you started up with Bezzy mate, Roxy.
Yeah. Roxy is my biz partner, my partner in crime. Yes, it is. It's amazing.
And I've got to say, you do amazing stuff together to kind of like really get women just feeling empowered, but you also get naked together. Look at this cheeky photo.
Yeah.
That takes a lot to do that. I got naked for a Calendar Girls photo shoot that was raising money for charity. But again, this has a really good message. And what you try and do, I think, with Ladies Life Lounge and yourself is you're turning pretty on its head. And you can see there, that's your 7 secrets, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're on a bit of a mission to create a bit of a guilt-free army of women. So it's a membership club, Ladies Life Lounge. So you join it for like a low monthly subscription, a bit like a gym membership. But we cover everything a woman needs in her life, and they're under these 7 secrets. And they all start with the word pretty, because we want to help women be known and recognised and value themselves for more than what they look like. Yes, what we look like is important to us. It is to me. But that's not on its own. It's equally balanced with the value and the contribution I make. So painted on our body here. This was inspired by a bit of a Little Mix photo shoot that they'd done. There are
yes.
yeah, you remember? Yeah, Little Mix
do.
painted all over them. So it was inspired by that. So the 7 secrets are almost like the pillars that we do lots of little training courses and masterclasses in, that give women all of the learning they could possibly need to make their life happy, fulfilled, successful, all under one roof, less than a gym membership, not even got to leave your sofa.
Oh, fabulous. I love it. There's so many ideas that are coming out of this, Jo. It really, really is. I'm going to ask you, though, finally, what advice would you give to women? What would you say to the women out there who are watching, and the men who need a bit more confidence? I know you talked about little skills that they've got, but what's one takeaway that you could give people now?
Is to, small change makes big difference. Just do what's the one small thing you could do that could make an improvement for yourself for today or tomorrow. It's overwhelming sometimes. It can just seem like a mountain in front of you when there are so many things that you think you want to address or sort out or change in your life. And actually break them down, start small, and remember that actually there's always something you can learn to address those things, always.
Oh, brilliant. Do you know what? Thank you so much for those words of wisdom. And thank you for doing this book, because I really, really would recommend it. And it's one of those I think I'm going to reread. And I know I don't like doing this with books, okay, because I feel like it's a sacrilege. But I think I'm going to turn the pages over and highlight some stuff. I know. I said it.
I'll bring you something special for that on Sunday if you like. So Michelle's to celebrate on Sunday, aren't you? So
absolutely, you've got your official book launch on Sunday. It's already a #1 Amazon bestseller. If you want the book, it is there below. That's where you can find the book. Thank you so much, Jode, and I'll see you Sunday.
All right, see you Sunday.
Hey, fantastic. Oh, she's amazing. She's so inspiring. And it was great to really grab her, because honestly, she speaks sense and I love it. We've got some comments coming through. We've got some really nice comments here this evening. So keep those comments coming in throughout the night. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring the other mini presenter in, because we have had lots of people say to us, where is Daisy and where is Harry? So they had to make an appearance this evening. And Daisy, I've got some great news for you for Daisy, because you're going to be seeing quite a lot of Daisy in the coming months, and this is why.
Join me, Daisy, every week when I read out my happy news. If you want to join in, then go to this email below and send in your happy news. It can be anything: birthdays, anniversaries, work promotions, and your kids' Star of the Day awards. But I'm really excited to hear your happy news. I can't wait. See you there.
Oh, so yes, this email below, she wants your happy news. So Daisy is going to be bringing us happy news every week. So if you've got something that you want to say, want to share with us, then Daisy is going to do it with a great big smile on her face. And we're going to bring some happiness into your lives too. Talking about people that make people happy, well, joyous things they create. And I've got a wonderful man who is about to join us, and there's a story behind how he's got to join us this evening, because he made me very happy when I bumped into him in Edinburgh. You might remember that about a couple of weeks ago I went off on my jolly. We didn't have Live in the Hive for 1 week. Shame. But I met a very inspiring guy, and I said, please, we need you on the Hive. And lo and behold, here is the man in question, Freddie Main. You're live from Scotland, right?
I certainly am. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. I mean, I grabbed you at this wonderful fair in Edinburgh, which was a craft fair. And I remember me and my husband were just walking past you, and we couldn't not stop because you have the most incredible items, and there's so much. You can feel the love that comes off making these items. They're wooden items. There's a couple that I can see behind you, and you've got a great company called Oak and Black. So tell us a bit about it. Love it. You're on brand.
Oh. Yeah, full kit tonight. Yeah, look, yeah, it was great to meet you, and that was actually my first market. It was the first fair that we've done. We're still pretty young. I say we; it's pretty much still me, with a little help from some friends as well. So yeah, that was great, and to bump into you guys was amazing, and you just clicked. And the way I looked at it was, it's a great way to put the brand out there and just chat with people. And it's one of those things that we don't often make enough time for, is just stop and chat with people. So if I made a sale, it was an absolute bonus because it was putting the brand out there and it was chatting to interesting people, and seeing people coming up to Edinburgh for a little bit of a jolly and a little bit of a getaway, which I think we've all sort of needed recently.
Absolutely. Now, you say it's fairly new, Oak and Black. It was a bit of a change for you, wasn't it, from what you usually had as your day job? And that change happened, through the pandemic, didn't it, Freddie?
Yeah, it was closely linked to it. So I've been a teacher for 19 years, and the role that I came out of, I was an assistant head teacher for the last 3 of that career, and it's a job that I loved, and it was a calling for me from a very young age. But I somehow got post-viral fatigue or chronic fatigue, and that sort of knocked me for 6. So that sort of forced a bit of a career change for me, because I played. I'll go back even further. I started playing a game called touch. I've played rugby all my life, and one of my friends passed away in 2017, and he played touch for Scotland. And I sort of decided, as you do when you can't do anything, that you need to do something. So I took up touch just as a personal challenge, and I managed to somehow get into the men's over 35s team to play at the European Championships in 2018. I loved it, a great experience. I learned from that. I'm not fit enough. I don't know the game well enough. I've got lots of work to do. So I stepped up, did a lot more work, and set myself the goal of playing for the mixed over 30. So I was 39 at the time. So I was the sort of one of the oldest, the least experienced, probably the slowest. And yeah, but I set myself the challenge, and I thought, I'm going to make no excuses. I'm going to make no excuses. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm too old, I'm not experienced, I'm not fast enough, I'm not good enough. And I decided, probably for the first time in my life, to just be completely honest. And it was for me. The honesty was for me. And it was, I'm going to get my diet right. I'm going to get my training right. I'm going to ask the right questions. I'm going to make no excuses. And if I'm not picked, that's okay, because I know I've done everything I could, and it was all for me. Somehow, again, managed to get picked. And I focused on what I could do, not what I couldn't do. And that was the real freeing agent for me. It was actually just focus on what you can do. Don't go there thinking what you can't do, because what's the point in focusing on that? Focus on what you can do, what you can bring. And I went to the World Cup in Kuala Lumpur in April 2019.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, it was amazing, and it was the best experience. And I thought, well, do you know what? I might not be involved in all the games, and that's okay, as long as I can energize the team and play my part, and when I'm on, make the most of it. And I decided I'm just going to play every game as if it's my last, and I'm just going to empty the tank every single game. And that's what I did. And again, I managed to play every game, which I'm incredibly proud of. And it was, talking 50-degree heat, really humid. But what an amazing...
different from Scotland.
It's a smidge. But we trained. Part of the training was we went into Napier University, and they've got these basic sweat tanks, and you just go and train in there, and they ramp up the humidity and the heat over the course of a few weeks. So we made sure we prepped for it. So that was amazing, and I literally emptied the tank and I gave everything I could give, and I love it. And like I say, I played every game as if it was my last, and sadly one of them, was my last. Because 3 weeks after I got back, I forgot what I thought was the flu. It knocked me for 6, and then a few days after, the sort of flu symptoms disappeared, but my energy never came back. And I thought, what's going on here? And I just couldn't get going, or I would need to sleep. And I know I'm unwell if I'm sleeping during the day, because I'm normally pretty busy, pretty fizzy, and doing stuff, and want to keep involved and get the best out of every day. So there's times I just couldn't get going. So I basically I was signed off for 2 weeks, in the last 2 weeks of school. I hate being off work. I hate being off school. I need to be there for my kids. But I was off because I just couldn't function. And then I basically took the summer off. And then at the end of summer, I was like, right, I'm just going back. And I know I knew I wasn't right, but I built up this anxiety of I need to be there, and we're like that. We're pretty bad that way, human beings. We sort of give ourselves stick. We don't take our own advice. But I went back, and I went full on back to I worked in a boarding school 6 days a week. Plus, I'd also taken on a head coach role for women's rugby. So I've got my school team, I've got a women's rugby team.
So intense to go back to that role, yeah.
Yeah. And I thought, if I can get through to Christmas, it'll be great. That'll be fine. So I got through to Christmas, managed to get through, and I thought, I've got away with it. I think I'm getting better. See, in January, absolutely nosedive. The day before I was due to go back to school, absolute nosedive, and I was worse than I was. So that's January 2020. So it basically just took my life and just sort of emptied it upside down. And it was for me to then really work and reframe everything. It was hard being signed off. I hated it. I didn't like it. I didn't like that I couldn't do the things I wanted to do. And there was a lot of anxiety that came with that. And that was the real lesson for me. I think, having had quite a few heavy hits in life, not unlike everyone else, you sort of cope with it in your way. And for me, exercise, talking to people was always a good way. But when you take that element out, the exercise where you can't train, you can't sort of get it out your system, I had to find other ways because it was hard, and I hadn't experienced anxiety before, and that was worse. That was worse than the depression. So, anywho, when COVID hit, for everyone else, it was horrible. It was probably the worst thing that could happen. For me, it took all the pressure off because I was at home and I'd been in isolation since January, and it took the pressure off, and it meant, do you know what, mate? Even if you really want to be at work, if you want to prove to people that you can do it, you can't be at work anyway. So why don't you just let yourself heal, let yourself get better, and then go on with it? So my focus, I've had to completely change my outlook, my focus, and the focus has had to be on me and my health. So with
that's a great thing, and a great thing to actually be aware of that, because some people take a long time to get to that awareness and end up really, really kind of suffering or just sticking in it, like you say, because you feel that you have to. And I think you're right, for a lot of people who are going 110 miles an hour, they got the chance to put the brakes on when the pandemic hit, and you'd have to take some positives out of a situation which was hellish for people, and is that how Oak and Black started then?
Pretty much. So it was when COVID had hit, and talk about sort of the psychosomatic aspect of illness. When I was when it happened and we were completely sort of isolated and you can't leave your house, I did feel a bit of an energy shift. And you say it takes people. It didn't take me long to get it. It took me 19 years, because I've been going 100 miles an hour for 19 years since I was teaching, and I very rarely put myself first. So yeah, it took me longer than it maybe should have. But sometimes again, as human beings, we often need that to get to that extreme point before we actually stop and make a change. When you actually have to make a change. And what I'm trying to learn from that is not to let it get to that stage again. not to let it get to that stage where it's just an extreme and you're sort of, you're running on fumes and putting everyone first. It's actually knowing, what can I let go of here? What can I let go of here if I'm not getting the right sort of balance and harmony for me?
Well, do you know what? It's interesting having you on after having Jodie Salt on to talk about kind of changes and little things, and then looking at the skills that you've got, because I see a lot of that in you. And also, we'll come on to it in a bit, I know that you have your own, I love the word, the Silver Fox coach. I'm going to come on to it later, but can I just say, I have to hold my hands up. I love it. I love it. And you do a bit of that a bit later, and I can tell you've kind of got that inspiring way about you. I've got to pull in some of these images though of your creations, because they are incredible. I really love them. I don't know which one to put up first, to be honest with you. I've got this one, which you do, I mean, the carving is absolutely brilliant. The craftsmanship, I just think it's amazing. I am useless with stuff, so I just think it's great. And these, you can hang them on the wall, can't you? You do all bespoke items.
Yeah, I've actually got mine here. So I've got a set of 3 in my dining room. So I've got Scotland from
fabulous. Oh my God! So are these all different? There's Scotland there. I'm not too sure about the middle one.
And then the USA. It's the USA.
I was rubbish at geography, Freddie. Really rubbish at geography. I have to keep saying to my daughter, pay attention, it'll pay off. There's things like this, though, bigger items like you do, fantastic benches, got one of your chopping boards here. And these are reclaimed materials, aren't they?
Yeah. Predominantly we use reclaimed materials, and we've got the whiskey stave products. The chopping boards are reclaimed worktops that we sort of process them down, sand them down, cut them, router them. So that's, our 3 values are kindness, creativity, and sustainability.
I love that. I really, really love that. It's kind of, each one starts with a kind thought. Yeah. That's the ethos, isn't it? And again, because we've kind of got your backstory, and I think you put a bit of you into it. And especially when you hear the bespoke things that people want, I imagine, like an artist, you kind of get that connection, don't you?
Oh yeah, I love it. I've obviously got some sort of stock products that I've developed, but I really get excited by people coming to me saying, "This, can you do this? Can we do this?" I just did a couple of stave stools for a client, and she collected them yesterday, and she's buzzing, she loves them, and it was a real joy to do. She says, "Oh, do you make a lot of these?" I said, "These are the first 2 I've done." So again, my background is I ran a design and technology department for a decade, and I've taught it for 19 years, and I just love it, and I love the fact it's different every year. You've got new kids coming through, and it's about getting them excited about, you've got an opportunity to create something here, to design something, to solve a problem. And if I get a kid early, I can start building up their skills, and the more skills they've got, the freer they are with their creativity, because they know how things can be made, and they know there's always a solution. So if you can get that into a kid's head, kids are amazing. They're so creative, and they will come up with some amazing products. And it's our job just to give them the confidence, make sure they're safe, make sure they're confident, get stuck in.
And it's great to see youngsters and people like yourself have these skills, because I really worry that my children will just kind of bypass that in some way and just think, yeah, okay, I'm on YouTube now, I'm on Facebook, but I can just be, a YouTuber or go on a reality TV show. That's what the generation, and my children, I'm fearful that they will see that kind of thing as a success. And I'm not knocking the people who, are on those shows, and fair play to them, making a career out of it. But to see people gain skills like these, just amazing things that they're going to take throughout their lives, I think it's great.
Absolutely. And with your kids, YouTube might be a thing for them, but what I'd say is help them find their passion and find a way to monetize it. And that's as simple as that. I know Oak and Black isn't, it's hard work because I'm learning how to run a business and all the aspects that go with that. And in terms of making products for people, that's just my dream job is Father Christmas. That's my dream job. I don't need to worry. If I don't need to worry about money, I'm making this stuff and I'm giving it away. That's what I did when I was a teacher. Every school holiday, I'm in the workshop making stuff or making Christmas presents. That's my dream job. So that's my plan. If there's a vacancy going, then I'll put my CV in. But for your kids, just let them try stuff, find the passion, and then make money out of it. Because, having been in education for so long, I see these kids just get quashed and squashed and suppressed. And are we just sort of serving exam factories, or are we trying to create happy, confident people? Because if you're happy and you're confident, you can go out and get after life anyway and enjoy it and be a success because you're happy and you're confident. And when we go for 40, 50 years and realize, I just want to be happy. I just wish I was confident. Kids are naturally that way and they're naturally creative. We almost sort of take it away from them. So I'd always say to kids, look, find out what you're passionate about. If you could get up tomorrow morning, do whatever you want to do. Money's not an issue. You can get up and do whatever you want to do, something that you just gets you going. What do you do? Ask them that question, and if they're lucky, they'll have an answer. But most people have to go away and have a really good think about it. But this is the question I would pose to my kids that would, they're having to make GCSE choices, A-level, well, mostly at the GCSE stage, because they think, they've got the pressure already of, if I want to do this, then I need to get that A-level. Then if I want to get that A-level, I need to do these GCSEs. And then, fast forward 15 years, are you using your degree? No. So we've had all that stress, that anxiety.
Well, you are. You're showing now that you're doing something that makes you happy. I honestly feel that you can see it written all over your face. And it does take a lot of work. All right. You're happy, but there's a lot of work that goes into it. And I'm going to show now everybody just what you get up to in terms of making a barrel. Take a look at this, guys. Wow, that was just incredible. I love it. And you can see just how long does it take to create that barrel bar? It's beautiful.
If I was going just fully at it, a couple of days. Yeah.
That's just a lot of work that goes into it. I've got one here that was commissioned by a very famous actor. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right. This guy. Where is he? There. Yeah, that's amazing.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. It's called, is it Sam Hagen?
Sam Hewen.
Hewitt. Oh, he's there. Oh my gosh. He's in is it the Outlander?
That's right, Outlander, yeah.
And that's done 6 seasons already. It's fantastic. Everybody, in the US knows him. It's been to Australia. It's done incredibly well. That must be something, knowing that it's in Sam's home.
That's amazing. Do you know, it was one of those ones where he'd launched the Sassenach brand. That's his new whiskey brand, and that's the bottle of the Sassenach underneath there. And he launched the whiskey. And do you know what? It's the beauty of social media, and it's the attitude of, do you know what? Why not? Why not? So I sent him a message. Just said, listen, I love your new brand. I think the logo is class. All the very best with it. Let me know if I can help you out with anything to help promote it. And I thought, do you know what? He's got 2.5 million, 3 million followers. He's not going to get back to me. 15 minutes later on a Saturday night, he messaged me back, and then we just back and forth messaging. And again, do you know what? In terms of each Oak and Black creation begins with your kind thought. And Sam was just amazing, because he said, do you know what? It wasn't for him. He didn't want to commission it. He said, do you know what? My business partner, who I'm in doing the Sassenach with, it's his birthday in December. I'd love it if you could make it and get it shipped to the States for him. And I thought, oh, absolutely. And then he said, you know what? Make me one as well. So I was like, absolutely. So do you know, it's that sort of kindness that just is amazing. And the amount of people that come to me and say, look, I've got this idea for this person. What can we do? And that sort of makes me alive when people come to me with these kind ideas. And then with that kindness, you get the creativity coming, because like, well, what do they like? What are they into? How might they use it? What's going to make it unique to them? And that's
put lights in it and spin that table around. I remember seeing it at the craft fair, and I was like, wow, that is really, really cool. Look, I'm in a bar myself here, Freddie. The Hive is my own bar, you know.
We need to get you alive in the Hive barrel end.
Barrel? Which barrel? What?
No, one of the wall hangers like that.
Oh, the wall hanger.
Yeah, with Live in the Hive engraved on it.
And yeah, I need to get one, don't I? Yeah, I thought you meant my wall hanger. I was like, that's just really. We do. We need to sort that out, honestly, Freddie. I have got to say, people are loving you, really loving you, Freddie. I've got some really nice things coming in. Lynn has said, Oak and Black, are you on Instagram? Now, I put up your Facebook. You're on Instagram, aren't you? Is it Oak and Black?
At Oak and Black, and that's for all platforms.
I've got a lovely evening from Becky Parson, and this one from Mandy. And Mandy is a regular viewer on the show. She's all the way from Texas, all right?
Wow.
And she says, great interviews, giving hope during these difficult times. The fact that new beginnings are always possible, just believe. And I think, that really does resonate with us, and the fact that you have turned it around, and I love your story, I really do. And that leads me on to the Silver Fox coach. What is that about? I love it.
Well, the Silver Fox coach started before Oak and Black, because I was sitting at this table writing down all the things that I love doing, and things that I was very lucky in my job in that I got to do a whole bunch of different things. I got to teach design technology. I got to run the PSHE program. I got to be an assistant head. I got to work with individual pupils. I got to coach rugby. And I got to do loads of things that I loved. So that sort of kept me quite satisfied. But when with the chronic fatigue, that wasn't there anymore. But I'm always a big believer that there are always positives to take. And I'm blessed with being quite reflective and having a pretty good outlook. I'm not always Mr. Chirpy, by the way, but I always believe there's a positive solution. There's always a way out, and that some good will come from anything. So the Silver Fox coach was, do you know what? I'm having a bit of a crappy time, but do you know what? I'm probably not the only one. And what advice would I give to anyone else? How can I use my situation to help other people? So I developed the Silver Fox coach, and the concept behind it is it's advice to my younger self. So if I could go back in time and coach me, what sort of things would I be saying? What sort of messages would I be giving? What sort of reassurances? And yeah, just if I was to go back and hold my own hand, how would I do it? And the response has been amazing. I've had lots of people get in contact with regards to chronic fatigue, chronic illness. but also other things. I chuck in a bit of rugby coaching there as well.
It's very inspiring. I mean, I've looked at your Instagram and I pulled out a few nuggets here, and I'll get rid of the Silver Fox Coach band just so we can see this.
Yeah.
Don't carry your banana peels with you. Tell us about this lovely quote.
That was my child-friendly version. So this is
okay. I
I
kind of think I know where you're going with that one.
Yeah. So I'd normally say flush it early. Don't carry it around with you. But I don't want to use that analogy with children. So it's like, don't carry your banana peels around with you. Otherwise, you might drop them and slip on them. So,
and this one really, really got me as well, because I just think some days you need to hear or see something like this. And if you can, you see it, it says one day you will tell your story of how you've overcome what you're going through now, and it will become part of someone else's survival guide. And, you know, again, I think that's what you've done here tonight in some way for a lot of people that are watching.
Yeah, thank you. I had a couple of nice comments, direct messages as a result of that one. And yeah, I think, you know, especially guys, it's important to actually just say, look, I'm having a bit of a crap time. Life's hard. And talk it through. You know, a big part of my role in education for the last 5 years, a big aspect of that was getting boys to talk. And just, you know, I loved listening to Jodie. I thought she was brilliant. And, you know, I work with women. I'm head coach of a women's rugby team. And I see amazing women every day. And my wife's phenomenal. So the stuff that she was talking about was just amazing. And I 100% endorse it. And the little, she talks about the little changes, the little things you can do. Massive fan of that, because, you know, you look at what you do regularly, look what you do a lot of, that's the little thing. So it could be like, do you know what, you want to lose weight or you want to get a bit fitter? Instead of having 2 sugars in your tea, have one sugar in your tea. And then, so how many cups of tea do you have a day? Oh, 5 cups of tea. Well, there you go. There's 10 sugars. You can reduce that to 5 straight away. You'll get used to it. And then a month later, say, right, I'm used to that habit. I'm now going to go 0 sugars in my tea. And then you just keep working like that. And it's not about not enjoying it. And it's not about, you know, you might say on a Sunday, you know, I'm just going to have 2 sugars in my tea and enjoy it. But by that point, you probably won't even want it. You won't like it. It'll be too sweet. And then you say, right,
that's why then it's kind of not something where you've gone full throttle and then just kind of gone, oh, right, well, I'll stop doing it now. I think if you do things slowly, they're more likely to stick, aren't they? I've got to be, before we kind of wrap up, because I could stay with you all night. Becky says, and I think this is really great, my husband has CFS and some days are a struggle, chronic fatigue syndrome, I believe you mean, Becky. He now works for himself and has a 3D printing business where he makes his own hours and works at his own pace. There you go. You know,
that's exactly the reason why I started Oak and Black. It was so I could manage my own time without the anxiety of thinking I need to be there at 8 o'clock and I need to be there for my pupils, because I knew I couldn't be. I knew some days I couldn't get going till 11. I'm blessed. I'm lucky now that I can pretty much work a week, as long as I give myself little pockets of downtime. But no, spot on. That's basically that was one of the key reasons that I did make the change. I took the leap, and it was hard because, you know, when I grew up, we didn't have a lot of money, and security is something that I attached myself to. Like I love teaching, but it also gave me that security. I've always got a salary. I didn't need to worry about this, that, the other, and I've got nothing now, and it's all on me. But it's about not focusing on that bigger picture, because, like Jodie said, that'd overwhelm you. Do you know what? Focus on today. Today's been a great day.
And Jodie there has said, Freddie, we should get together on a Zoom or something for a right good natter. Honestly, I don't think you two would come up for air. You are really on the same wavelength there. You really are. It's so good. I'm going to put up your website, and you know, if anybody is interested to go and have a look, because as I say, his pieces are great. We've seen some of them tonight, and I just think you've got a really wonderful skill and a wonderful kind of outlook on life. And I love meeting people like you and Jodie. I feel quite blessed that I've had both of you on this evening. It feels quite fitting. So thank you very much, Freddie. Stay in touch, and we'll kick. Do you know what? There's 2 silver foxes now. You're going to be giving Philip Schofield a run for his money.
There we are.
Oh, forget Philip Schofield. Freddie Main, it's all about. Freddie Main.
Good word.
All right. You take care, and
Thanks so
see
much.
you soon, Freddie. Okay.
Thanks, Michelle.
Bye-bye.
Much appreciated. Cheers.
Oh, well, I have absolutely adored this evening. I feel so inspired by those 2 people. I've got this smile on my face, my cheeks just hurt, and it's made me want to go and just, I don't know, just I've got this buzzy feeling that I want to do stuff. And I love that. And I hope that you have felt that way as well from those wonderful guests that we've had. I'm going to leave us with a little bit of music. This is going to tease you for something that is going to come next week. So are you ready to rock on? Well, you might have seen on that crawler, we have got Bat Out of Hell, the musical, coming next week. We're going to interview the star of the show, Amson, who plays Strat. We've got a wonderful writer for TV and radio, Becky Presswich, and we've got a very special surprise, and I am going to give a little bit of a tease. My mother-in-law, Joan, is going to be beside herself when she realizes who we've got in the Hive next week, and I think so many people are going to get excited. I'm not going to say any more. All right, you just have to keep your eyes peeled for when we reveal who that very special guest is. So I'm going to say thank you to our wonderful guests once more, Freddie Main from Oak and Black and Jodie Salt, and also a special thank you to Lynn Cutler, who really helped arrange the interview with Jodie tonight. She's an absolute star and she does great events, the Edge event. So big shout out to the wonderful Lynn Cutler. And I will see you guys next week. So you know where to be. Thursday, 8 o'clock. There's one place to be, and that is live in the Hive. See you then.